Oops. Hey, what's up? Is it working? Can you hear me? Hear me talking? Is that it? Hey, 10 Max, Nathan, what's up? Can you guys hear me? Is the audio working? Awesome, thanks. Let's see here. So, I sort of just built this test area that I'm working on as I'm trying to upscale all the graphics from 3 down stars, which means I'm upscaling all the character models and stuff like that. So, in 3 down stars on the 3DS, the characters their fingers aren't fully articulated, so you only get these fingers are attached, and you have your pointer finger, and then there's no facial expressions. So I have the low quality versions of the models; they're lower poly count, and then I have the higher quality models that I've been working on for future games. So hopefully, for the foreseeable few years or whatever, when I make games in the series, I'll be able to use all these HD models and stuff like that. So I'll just sort of drop one in here and see. Oh man, favorite game. It's going to be tough. I mean, I absolutely love Revelations because it's Resident Evil Revelations, and it's so impressive. Like I still look at Revelations on 3DS, and I'm like, how did they do that? But in terms of hours, I put the most hours into Smash Bros. Just because you play the game with your friends and whatnot. And there's a lot of really good 3DS games. This one's rigged for facial expressions. Uh, I did think about Kickstarter, but I really don't want to go through Kickstarter to fund games because then your game is no longer a game; it's a Kickstarter game, and then the expectations for the game are very different when it goes through Kickstarter. So these are blend shapes. Blend shapes are part of the 3D model, and you can see that it controls different parts of the face. There we go. Just gotta just to sort of show you what the values that go into sort of animating these faces. Mouth around. There we go. So the animation system that I've been working on for the facial expressions controls all of these, all the different values, so that I can sort of, in my event system, I can sort of say, oh, I want the character to look, confused up top, but then smiling on the bottom, and then it'll mix and match the two different facial expressions and whatnot. I did Project X Zone. Have you heard of Project X Zone for the 3DS? Because I played that for a bit, and that's like a fever dream of mixing together a bunch of different game series, uh, and that was really cool. It's like a strategy RPG. So on 1.3, I'm still waiting on Nintendo. At the beginning of this month, they said it should take 2 weeks. Yeah. So this development is for the Switch. Yeah, it's for future games for the Switch. So what we're actually looking at right now is the RPG Road Past Guilt. But I'm working on sort of building areas in a universal way, so I can use these areas in other games in the series as well. So I'm not building it, where I think, oh, in RPG the camera is far away, so I don't need to make the areas detail. So I am making the areas extremely detailed because this area, even though it's just for the RPG game, I'd like to be able to use it in future games as well. Like if we do bring 3 down stars to the Switch, I can take areas from RPG and I can put them into 3 down stars, and I can say, oh, there's new story segments, there's um, there's new Frontier Fighters missions. Um, Look, for the anal probe minigame, I'm still waiting to hear back from the manufacturers because we have a Bluetooth peripheral that we're working on. Um, and the main difficulty with the anal probe minigame is that you have to take into account that all players have different fingers. You know, some people have like long, skinny fingers, and then a lot of our viewers are lumberjacks, so they have big, chunky fingers. And building a controller peripheral that takes into account everyone's fingers is very difficult. So I'm still looking for a manufacturer that can handle that for the anal probe minigame. Uh, Look, I'm not sure. I don't have development kits set up for Xbox and PlayStation, and to be honest, um, I'm just one developer, and I'm not sure if I can produce a game on my own um, that would meet expectations on the Xbox and PlayStation. Players have very specific expectations with the Xbox and PlayStation. And, I'm working on building a team, but right now I don't have the funding for that. But in the future, when I do have funding for that, I would like to look at other consoles. But right now, I don't think I can produce a game that looks very impressive on Xbox and PlayStation. It's very difficult to do that on your own. Yeah, well, I'd like to do a lot more if we can bring 3DS to the Switch, because I wanted to do a lot of scenes at night. Um, and some, I mean, when you play the game, you can sort of get a hint that there's some different times of the day, but it was very restrictive working with the 3DS because um, the lighting is very basic with the development kit that I had for the 3DS. So let's start dropping some textures in here so she doesn't look like a horrifying monster. So here we have our standard fancy pose. Just keep track of the textures. So this Annalise here, her face is not set up for animating. This one is. Thanks. Uh, Hi, Lime Green. Thanks for jumping in on the stream. Uh, yeah, look, people. Oh God, that's horrifying. Oh no. Oh no. What have I done? Oh no. Oh no. We need to do something. uh, um, so for the mobile stuff, um, I don't need approval for that because the IP belongs to me. The IP doesn't belong to Nintendo, so I don't need permission in terms of creating and whatnot. And that's why I really want to stay away from external publishers and external funding, because then that means that the game doesn't belong to me as a creator anymore. It starts to belong to the publisher and whatnot. And that's we all know what happens when creators don't have full control over their property. Um, Stuff just starts going real crappy real fast. So for the mobile stuff, I don't have to ask Nintendo. That's all up to me. So if I think of an idea that I think is really cool, I can do it. I can run with it. And we do have you have the campfire stories that gives you some stuff. Campfire stories is that app, and then we have Compendium that lets you control action figures, and we have a night drive reaching out into darkness, which I haven't shown a lot of details for, but that's going to be I don't know if anyone remembers. I think it was last year for Halloween. Oh crap! I don't know. It was 2 years ago, maybe 2 Halloweens ago. I did that teaser, and it was Dominic Rodriguez. He was driving around the desert. So the Silver Falls Android game. I'm hoping I'll probably have that out in a month. But Silver Falls, A Night Drive, Reaching Out into Darkness. Um, that's you're pretty much just driving around the desert, uh, and you're supposed to be delivering food for Chunky Chicken. You're playing as Dominic Rodriguez, and stuff starts happening. So A Night Drive, Reaching Out into Darkness takes place the night before Three Down Stars. So the same time, at the beginning of Three Down Stars, when Sheriff Moss is doing his thing at the ranch. Um, at the exact same time, that's when Dominic Rodriguez is out in the desert doing driving around. I don't want to spoil it, but it's going to be pretty action heavy, and you're sort of a lot of it is you're mostly just driving around and drifting and doing cool stunts and stuff starts happening. And then we have Silver Falls in Outer Space. That one was revealed through the Compendium app. Crap. Did I do that right? Okay. Um, hmm. So, In Outer Space is a Silver Falls game that's going to be that's going to be just for iOS devices, so the iPhone, iPad, and whatnot. And in outer space, you're playing as Tira Dollarbuck. Actually, this is Tira Dollarbuck right here. Oops, gave her a funny face. Just reset that. So you play as Tira Dollarbuck in Silver Falls in outer space, and in that she's working on a space station. So she works as a look. I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, there's enough in Three Down Stars that you can learn, but she's working on a space station. And it takes place about 6 months before Three Down Stars, and it'll tie pretty tightly to the story of Three Down Stars. So yeah, she'll have a game, and Dominic Rodriguez will have a game. There's there's so much content in the project. It's so dense. If Unity didn't have this search feature here, I would literally lose my mind. I'd just go insane. Here we go. Ah, this. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. Okay. Yeah. Glad you saw the hint from Annalise in Frontier Fighters. Uh, um, yeah. Look, I would love to put more story segments in Three Down Stars. Um, I had a lot of ideas, and the stuff that made it into Three Down Stars really boiled down to um, what I what I could handle from a development standpoint, what I can put on the hardware. And there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to do um, at night. Um, so you're exploring dark environments, and you have a lot of dynamic lighting, and it's very difficult with the development kit that I have working on the 3DS. It's very difficult to do that. So there were some ideas where I thought it would be a waste to try to do this idea on the 3DS because I wouldn't be able to execute it as best as it can be. So hey, look, maybe one day you'll get to check out the mansion that she was talking about. A couple characters in the story. When you're going through Epilogue 1, there's a lot of characters that are um, every time you visit Epilogue 1, new characters come to the campfire and you can sort of talk to them. A number of characters actually talk a bit about the mansion as well. So there's a lot to explore. I've written a lot of lore around it as well. So hopefully 1.3 will launch soon. That'll fix a lot of stuff, and it'll open up because there's a lot of content in Frontier Fighters, especially when you go to the higher difficulties. There's a special difficulty in Frontier Fighters where you're just riding um, the roller coasters. So the Mustake Festival, there's a number of roller coasters there. So there's a special mode where they install a couple more roller coasters, and there's a Frontier Fighters mode where you're just on the roller coasters and you're hitting targets. Anyway, yes, that's what I've been doing here, sort of looking at these facial expressions. So let me see if I've got. Let's see if I've set any up. Yeah, again, I'm really into using the search function here because my projects are so dense. There's so much data information. Let's see here. Is he set up? I'm not sure if this one. So Nathan, what part are you at? What character are you playing as, and what's supposed to be happening? Waiting. Yeah, just waiting. A lot of a lot of development is waiting for scenes to load. Usually, when I hit deploy, I have to sit there for like 2 minutes. So yeah, you kind of learn to be zen, and you learn to be patient. What is even happening with the lighting in this scene? I'm just gonna go ahead and turn up the lighting here a bit. So see what's going on here. Kind of like a warm color to the sunlight. I think it's visually interesting to look at as opposed to just making it white. Looking for my dudes. Where's my dudes? Oh, look, we can have a nice high definition look at these guys. So I'm still working on upscaling these. They're not fully upscaled yet, so probably have to redo quite a few animations for them and everything. Oh, there's our point. Let's see if I've got my facial expressions rigged on this guy. Yeah, I think this guy's rigged. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit play, and then we'll watch the animation system do its thing. Yeah, thanks. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if there's any way to sort of speed up Nintendo doing their approval process. I mean, the world kind of sucks, and I hope everyone, I hope you guys and your families are safe. Um, that really sucks. Really sucks if your family's overseas and you can't, go home to support your family and friends and things like that because it's flights are all sort of on lockdown. So, yep, just waiting for the player to start playing, which is kind of annoying. So this still waiting for the player to start going. You can see sort of. Let's see if I can move this over. Is it gonna? Nope. It's waiting. So is anyone playing Resident Evil 3? right now. That one just came out. Is anyone playing that? Kind of, I really want to play Resident Evil 3, but I don't have the time to play other games at the moment. Oh, nice. You're playing the original Resident Evil 1 or remake? I want to play the 3 remake, but I mean, I want to look up information online, but I don't want to get hit with spoilers, so that sucks. Still waiting. Waiting on loading. So I did plan. Nice, man. I love the remake, but it's one of those games that like I actually get scared playing it, and I get uncomfortable because like the Crimson Heads are gonna do their thing. You're kind of thinking like, oh man, I know what's gonna happen next. I love the lighting and remake. Um, so with Deadly Shadows, I might start working on Deadly Shadows in a bit, and then show you guys sort of what's going on with that. But with Deadly Shadows, it's going to have fixed camera angles, like Resident Evil One remake, and so hopefully I can have really detailed environments. But the game takes place mostly um, it's at like a lumberjack, a logging crew cabin. Most of it is outdoors, so there isn't a lot of shelter. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of backtracking in one. So you said you're you're stuck in Three Down Stars right now, Nathan. What character are you, and sort of what's the last thing you sort of done in the story? I am actually still waiting. I'm still waiting. I'm trying to run this in editor mode. So you see the kind of agony that I have to deal with. And my computer isn't like a slow computer. It's a pretty powerful gaming machine. My the projects are pretty heavy, and Unity is not super efficient. Uh, okay, let's see. Okay, so did you, Nathan? Have you picked up the sphere and then ended up at the hospital? Saw the hospital scene yet? Not yet. Yo, I am still waiting. Grr. All right, so I think you're in the area where you should be able to explore the area. Oh yeah, no, I'm actually not even legally allowed to show that. Yeah, when Nathan, when you're at that part of the game, so you got the big craft thing, right? You see that when you sort of continue down the path, there's sort of a branching path. So when you continue down that way, you'll see there's like a grandfather clock sitting in the middle of nowhere, and you have the path splits. You can either go left or right. So le- left or right. So if you go left, there's sort of a narrow path, and if you walk down that, you'll find an item that'll um, progress the story. Guys, I'm still waiting. I'm trying to show you this, but it's still loading. Cool, 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 cool. You know, let me maybe I'll show you Gunfetti in here. Just gotta be careful because this is the development kit, so I'm not allowed to show you it. See if I can boot this up like a ninja and show you some features in 1.3. How about that? While we wait for this to load, so let me go ahead and run this. I can't believe it's still loading. So I'll show you Gunfetti. Come on. Yeah, so with 1.3, all the levels are going to load way, way faster. So there is some crashing late game uh, in the current version of Silver Falls that's out right now. And the problem is the software development kit that I'm using, or the engine that I'm using, if I load a texture into memory, like say, this guy, this is all of their textures now are 2048 by 2048. It's high quality stuff. And the 3DS can handle high resolution stuff, uh, which is kind of shocking. But the problem um, with Unity on 3DS is it doesn't correctly release the memory that the texture was used. So the highest resolution texture in Silver Falls is 512 by 512, which is a huge amount of memory anyway. And you can load that into the 3DS. You can actually load 1024s in terms of resolution. But the problem is when you leave one area of the game and you go to another area, it's supposed to release the memory that was being used up, and it won't. It won't use up. Oh, look, you can see their faces animating here. So that's the facial expression engine that I'm working on. And it'll be dynamic. They can read lines of text and it'll animate their faces accordingly. Yeah. And I'll show you the difference between, so none of this, well, it mostly doesn't have any post-processing or color correction or anything. This is looking through the game camera itself, which has the post-processing and its color correction and whatnot. So it does look quite a bit more interesting to look at in terms of dynamic shading and colors. There's before and after. Oh, they're still looking around here. Let me see. Do I have confetti equipped? Okay, cool. Let me figure out how I'm going to do this, actually. So, okay, I'm gonna try and play this backwards, I think. So the current gunfetti I have equipped is called Welding Spark, and you can see it's sparks coming out of there. Let me go ahead and switch to a different gunfetti effect. Can I do it? I can't. Oh, I got it? Okay. So I'll do fireworks. Okay, so I've equipped fireworks. So here's fireworks. That's gunfetti. So instead of the normal muzzle flash, you got other effects. So I'll try something else here. Might run out of ammo if I don't go buy some. Let's see, stars, bubbles, confetti. So here's sort of the all right. So I'll do confetti now, and there you go. Nice confetti pops out of the gun. So instead of the normal muzzle flash, there you go. You can celebrate. And let's see. All right. This is stars. So stars come out of the gun instead. Oh yeah. So there's the first person aiming, right? So you press the button once, and you're aiming the gun, and if you quickly just push aim again, it'll go into first person mode. So yeah, you can aim your guns in first person. That'll help. That was a popular request by players of the game. And yeah, there, stars will come out of the gun instead. So there's 8 different effects, and you have to explore the count and look for the parts the same way that you find laser sights. What about is anyone playing Animal Crossing right now? Yeah, I'm banned from playing games like Animal Crossing because I won't stop. Is it is it the fan or the it might be the air conditioner actually? How's that? Is that better? Yeah, the PC fan is kind of it's a gaming laptop, so it's pretty beefy. Yeah, yeah, it's the fan. Um, I'll try and get an external mic for the next stream. Sorry, I was just trying to. I was just testing the stream. I didn't even know I was actually going to do a stream today. I was going to see how to set it up. I'll get a better microphone next time. Just having coffee. So if anyone's interested in sort of game design, I'll sort of get into to how this sort of thing works. Just sort of looking around nonstop. Okay, so for this guy, where is he? Let's see. So I use multiple animators. So I have an animator for the lower half of the face, and this is the animator for the upper half of the face. And the sure, yeah, okay. What kind of events? Like story and cinematic events? Yeah, I can show you that. Um, so the facial control system I'm developing is called perpetual emotion. It's just a name. The name doesn't really matter. Yeah, 1.3 is gonna all the areas are gonna load way faster now, and there might be some crashing. There's really nothing I can do about it because again, Unity on the 3DS doesn't actually remove or doesn't clear memory correctly. Um, but I've substantially reduced the memory usage by reducing the texture resolution, so the game will be way more stable. You'll be able to play a long time without crashing. I'll just open that script and see what's going on. Right? Yeah. Um, yeah. There's a the game is built to handle like when you go into events. It's supposed to stop enemies, but I have to manually go into to each event to prevent cheesing. Otherwise, you could make it to where like you check on an object and then it'll automatically kill every enemy for you. So I know there are parts that I'll probably have to go into and cheese it. Um, there's a Frontier Fighter's ability. I think Annalise might have it on her skill board, so it's always available to her. But other characters can get it as well. Uh, and I think it's called Safe Scavenger. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the Frontier Fighter skill makes you invincible for a couple seconds after you pick up an item. So that's sort of meant to you're meant to sort of to cheese that ability as much as you can because when you defeat enemies in Frontier Fighters, obviously they drop items, and if you see like an enemy's coming at you for an attack, then you go and just grab one of the items and you can get invincibility. I mean, that's one thing. Um, so my perpetual emotion facial control. It controls the animator upper and the animator lower, and it performs gestures for the upper and lower separately. It controls the triggers. I mean, that stuff's not interesting to look at. But basically, I have holders that let me control those blend shapes that I was showing. Yep, it's thinking and waiting. Here, I'll just quickly look at this, and I'll show you. I'll show you. This is the RPG. So I'll show you how the RPG handles events. Um, 3 down stars. I can't actually show you the project. I legally can't because the version of Unity that it's running on is built for Nintendo. So I cannot show you 3 down stars development. I can show you this because this is the PC standard Unity, And when we're done waiting, why are we still waiting? What's happening? Okay, cool. Cool. So this is controlling the lower part of the face. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. So for the animation engine, I really like Unity's animation system and the way you control animations. I'm not a master at the animation system yet, and I'm still learning as I go, and I'm improving. And I have a lot to learn as well. So, and this is just a start. I'm still building all the different animations for everything. What's happening is starting from any state, that means you can transition from any expression to any expression. So the way you trigger that, this is a lower neutral. So if your emotional state equals 0, and gesture lock. So gesture lock means that you're performing a gesture like, say, you go, ah, my God. I would, while you're doing that surprise look, I would enable a bool value called gesture locked. And gesture lock means that you're busy performing a facial expression and that your normal states won't cancel that expression. So I have that as false. An emotional state is 1. And emotional states are they're like a passive thing. They're going to stay active. So that would be your lower happy. Oof, oh boy, that didn't sound right. Lower part of your face is happy. Lower part of your face is angry. And I just changed the emotional state. So 0 is neutral, 1 is happy, 2 is angry, 3 is sad. And with this setup, I can have 100 different emotional states if I wanted, and that'll control blend shapes for the mesh. Of course, gesture lock. So what's gesture lock for again? So you do a small smile. So say you have a little smirk, and it lasts 2 seconds or whatever. So you'll want your gesture ID. They're performing a gesture, and this is a trigger called perform gesture. And also what I do here in the scripting, down here in the scripting, that's when I turn on gesture lock, and that allows this to happen without getting overridden by these guys over here. Yeah, so I have one controller for the lower half of the face, for your lower happy, and then, and then I have one for upper, so I can control the 2 different parts of the face separately, and you can create more interesting, more dynamic facial expressions that way. And that way you can have someone, the upper part of their face, look surprised, and their bottom half of the face can be talking. Hey, thanks for hanging out, and 10 Max. We'll catch you next time. I'll do a quick rundown on the event system here. This is the RPG, so it's super complex, and it'd take a really long time to go through the whole thing. Let's see if I have a sort of an NPC that I can have a template here. So this again, this event system is different, Nathan. This is different from 3 Down Stars, but it's uses similar principles. So this guy, this is just a template for an NPC. This is from an old project, so it's got to look at it again. So a sphere collider is the trigger. Let's see here. If you have a look at that collider there, I put that trigger there for if you want to activate an event on touch. What I do have, let me see here. Let's see if I don't crash anything here. All right, so this is sort of a template player that doesn't have graphics attached, but this sphere here is what I call a check zone. So while this player is walking around, if that check zone collides with an event, it'll sort of queue the event up, and then if you push the button, it'll activate the event. Let's go back to the NPC here. And so say, for example, if the player collides with that sphere, or if you want to activate an event, um, from that distance, so if the player goes into that zone, it'll activate an event. Let me just see what's going on here. So the event to activate, there's a lot to look at here. As test party heal. So let me go ahead and look with that event. This event. This is really complicated in terms of what you can control with events. So I use what's called event steps. And there's a million ways to do this. This is just how I've designed my system. So the first step, this is just for me, for development, so I know what that steps is for. And I have a forced time wait, which means I force the player wait 2 seconds, before anything else happens, before it even goes to the next event. And then time until allow progress, which means how soon can the player push the button, or does the event proceed automatically? You can have branching paths here, other functions. I have multiple choice options, so the player can answer yes, no, get stuffed, and they can choose. Then you can have your multiple description. And you can choose what happens for each of those events. That. So dialogue text is sort of be the simplest thing here. You have multiple dialogue texts in this. Will you show it in a window, or will it not have a window, so it's text that just appears speaker type? That means that you can actually, that's how you sort of trigger your heroes, get their names show up in there. Your dialogue speaker, you can choose your dialogues, the size of the text box. Identity requirements. So that's if you want it to be a certain character. So if I was using this system in 3 down stars, if I went 1, let's see, identity requirements. Check. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I totally forgot what this was. I haven't used this one. Oh, yeah, wow, okay. That's kind of cool. I forgot I put this in here. Because I built this RPG system a year ago, and then I've just been focusing on, oh no, I built it 2 years ago, and I've been focusing on 3 down stars, so I didn't even get to use this framework. But you can check, there's all these different personality traits, and then you can actually have your NPCs react differently based on your party's thing. So let's say if you're dealing with an NPC who's pretty funny, and he'll only give you a key item if your humor is greater than 50. It'll check your entire party. Yeah. Otherwise, if that isn't met, then you can trigger a different event, things like that. So this is for the RPG. This wasn't for 3 down stars. I forgot that was in there. Camera, you can activate cinematic cameras. So the way that works is, say I wanted to activate the first play cinematic instruction. So this is a similar thing to what I used in 3 down stars as well. Let's see what this guy has here. So the NPC here, cameras to control. So you can see he'll add a reference. So I would have created a, somewhere in here, there's going to be a camera that has an animation attached. I'll just look through here. See. Well, I'll quickly just create it just to show anyway. So let's say, and I wanted this camera. So when you talk to this guy, it'll activate this camera. And if I wanted, I could add. Wait a second. Add an animator, and you can create an animation where the camera does that. It pans left and right. So I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go back to this NPC, and I can reference that camera. And so that's in the first camera slot. That's element 0. So if I go back to my event here, and I go to the camera instruction, so now that's 0, it'll activate that camera because that's in the first element of that slot. And if there's an animation attached, it'll play the camera instruction. Actor manipulation. So actor ID, it's the target party member. You get party member 1, party member 2, party member 3, etc. Or if it's the NPC itself. So you can say they're allowed to run. If that's not checked, then they'll walk. Turn to face means they'll turn to face a particular thing and make actor walk through. That means they'll ignore stuff. That helps them avoid getting stuck on weird geometry. And wait until actor reaches position. So you define movement position ID. So again, you put a reference in that actor. Well, I call them actors because that's just a technical term. So let's see. Well, I'll go to the NPC here. So sure, okay, that sounds good, Nathan. So position for actors, right? If I wanted to create a new position for them, so if I went create empty, and I'll just position 1. All right. So if I drag that over there, put that position over there, and I go to this guy and I want to reference that position. So positions for actors. I'll go ahead and reference that. And if I go back to this guy's event, which is here, and I use actor manipulation again, and I say, I'll say he's allowed to run, and I say, yeah, position ID is 0. So that means that he'll go to his first thing that he referenced, which is 0, and maybe his movement speed could be 5 or something, so he'll run on over there. So that's how I sort of handle making actors walk around. I'll briefly show you the code on that, but I mean, like, there are dedicated tutorials that can show you efficiently how these things sort of work. This is just how I do it. Everyone does things a certain way. Sometimes you look at someone doing things a certain way and you think, well, that's not how the tutorials say to do it. That's not, but everyone has their own reasons for doing things. And the way that I do things is very specific because I take into account a lot of other aspects in functionality. So, turn to face. So if you're forced to turn to face, so target follow. So you would externally assign target to follow, which would be, again, the object that I created, position 1, and then you would look at that. But again, this code's about 2 years old. I would put a slurp in there to smoothen that out, actually. Of course, you have process movement, which handles your gravity, and if they move towards an object and things like that. So, it's all gobbledygook. It's a bit messy. Anyway, hey, thanks for hanging out and watching the stream. Well, guess I'll end up the stream here and then I'll get back to work. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. And then I'll probably stream again tomorrow and do a bit more development tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take it easy. All right. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll be back tomorrow. See ya.